In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Welcome to the world of Vector. Due to coronavirus, we have to continue our online class. I'd like to suggest you stay home, stay safe. Coronavirus safety, follow these easy steps to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. At first, disinfect surfaces around your home and work. Number two, wash your hands for at least 20 seconds. Number three, sneeze or cough. Cover your mouth. These all are the safety measures for coronavirus. Let me introduce. I am Mohammad Muqtadir Hussain Bhuiya, lecturer, Department of Physics. Observe following diagram. This is our second lecture, and I hope that all of you are aware about vector. And this is relatable picture to vector. And observe following diagram and think what you have observed. Later, we are going to discuss about this diagram and observe following diagram too. Okay. Name of our chapter is vector, and this is our second lecture. In previous topics, we have learned about the understanding of vectors and mathematical operation of vectors. And today, we are going to learn about these topics: vector presentation, vector resolution, dot product, cross product, introduction to calculus, and gradient divergence and curve. Key points of this chapter are vector presentation, vector resolution, vector product, dot product, cross product, introduction to calculus, and gradient divergence and curve. Learning outcome. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to explain vector presentation, explain vector resolution, explain dot product, explain cross product, explain introduction to calculus, and you will be able to explain gradient divergence and curve. Vector presentation. We can present vector in one dimension, two dimension, and three dimension. Here we have to explain two type of presentation in 1D or one dimension. Let y is a vector along x-axis, and here we have only one dimension. That's why it is one dimensional vector. And in one dimension we can express this vector, and in two dimension, let the UA is our vector, and we can express this with two dimension in along with x-axis and along with y-axis. Cause we get help from x-axis and from y-axis to express wave vector. That's why this is the two-dimensional vector presentation. Now we are going to discuss about three-dimension and vectors with three component. Let x, y, z are three components, and let a vector v is 1, 4, 3 are the magnitude, and along x-axis the value is 1, along y-axis the value is 4, and along z-axis the value is 3. And we are going to put all this value along x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. Now we are going to draw this vector in three dimension. At first, along x-axis we draw only the value 1, and along y-axis the value 4. That's why we get a final vector that is along x-axis and y-axis, and along z-axis the value is 3. Now from origin point we go to the final point, that is our final vector. Final vector is v. Here the value in the diagram, this vector is 1 1I plus 4j, and this vector is the resultant of 1I plus 4j plus 3k. And mm, with this diagram, we can represent the three components, vectors with three components in 3 dimension. We can express this. This is 1I, this is 4j, and this is 3k. And this is our final vector, that is v vector. Now, we are going to determine the length of a three-dimensional vector. Observe this diagram. And here we have a vector v is equal to 1I plus 4j plus 3k. And we can draw this vector with diagram, with the help of this diagram. Previously we have discussed it. And this is 1I, this is 4j, and this is 3k. At first, if we take that as a as b and this as age, and we can draw the final vector v, and the, this is a normal. That's why the value of v is equal to root over of b square plus s square, and b is consists with two vector, that is 1 and 4. For this, that's why for b we can write the value of b is equal to 1 square plus 4 square according to Pythagoras. So you can put all this value, and finally we can get this value of three-dimensional vector, and that is the length of a three-dimensional vector. Now our topic is vector resolution. The two methods of vector resolution that we will discuss here. First method is the parallelogram method, and the second one is the trigonometric method. At first, parallelogram method of vector resolution. Observe this diagram, and this is a vector v is 50 meter per second, and the angle is 60 degree. And with the help of this vector, we can draw a parallelogram. And along x-axis, the component is vx, and along y-axis, the component is vy. And vx is equal to v cos theta, and vy is equal to v sin theta. By putting all this value from the figure, v is equal to 50 meter per second and theta is equal to 60 degree, we can get all this value. By this, with the help of this parallelogram method, we can resolve vector. And for vector resolution, this is another picture. Here f is a force, and f cos theta is horizontal component, and f sin theta is vertical component. Trigonometric method of vector resolution. This is the trigonometric method for vector resolution. Look at this diagram. If we apply force or something in this direction, there is a vector quantity in the force is vector quantity, and the value is 60 Newton. And along x-axis, with horizontal component, the angle is 40 degree. Then we have to find out two components here. One of them is horizontal component, another of them is vertical component. With the help of trigonometry, we know that sin theta is equal to, here for this triangle, sin theta equal to vertical component divided by hypotenuse, that is perpendicular by hypotenuse. By putting all this value, we can get the vertical component. And for cos theta, according to trigonometry, for cos theta, we get the horizontal base by hypotenuse. By putting all this value, then we can get the horizontal component here. Now we are going to discuss about vector multiplication. There are two types of multiplication. One of them is dot product, another One of them is cross product. We're going to discuss these thoroughly in our next slides. At first, the definition of dot product. The definition of dot product is the product of their magnitudes multiplied by the cosine of the angle between the vectors. That is x dot y is equal to xy cos theta. And another name of scalar product is dot product of for two vectors. The equation is x dot y equal to x dot y cos theta. And here this is x and this is y, and along y we get the projection, that is there is the equation, that is the theorem. If theta is the angle between a and b, then it would be is equal to ab cos theta, and we can get the angle theta from this equation. Cos theta equal to a dot b divided by uh, determinant of a and determinant of b. And if a and a dot b are orthogonal, that's why we can get a dot b is equal to 0. That's why a b are perpendicular. Use of dot products. We have to divide thoroughly by v to get the projection of a onto v. That is along v vector. This is the projection of a vector. That is a dot b divided by v vector, or it is also is equal to a cos theta. Now we are going to discuss about cross product. The cross product a cross of b is defined as a vector that is perpendicular or orthogonal to both a and b with a direction given by the right hand rule and magnitude equal to the area of the parallelogram that the vectors span. Now we are going to show you the equation, that is a cross of b is equal to ab sin theta, and here we have a direction, and a is a unit vector and perpendicular to the plane defined as a and b. That is actually that is our a vector and that is our v vector, and that is our area, and this area is a cross of b. If we get the determinant of a cross of b, and that is the area. And here our final direction of a cross of b, final direction of a cross of b is perpendicular to this plane, and this is the direction of a cross of b, that is our vector, and this plane is the magnitude of a cross of b, and this is the direction of a cross of b. For cross product, observe this. The cross product of two vectors says something about how perpendicular they are. Magnitude is a cross of b, that we have said earlier. Theta is smaller angle between the vectors. Cross product of any parallel vectors is 0. Cross product is maximum for perpendicular vectors. Cross products of Cartesian unit vectors are I cross of j is equal to k, I cross of k is equal to minus j, j cross of k is equal to I. And for same vector, same unit vector, the value is 0. With the help of this diagram, we can get this. If we rotate in anticlockwise, then we get the positive value, and if we rotate in clockwise, then we get the negative value, that is I cross of j is equal to k, but for j cross of I, the value is minus k. That's all. And here that is our a vector and that is b vector. The angle between them is theta, and this is b sin theta, and this is a sin theta. If we draw a parallelogram here with the help of a and b, that is the magnitude of a cross of b, and our the direction of a cross of b is perpendicular to this plane. For cross product, to get the determinant, we with the help of this diagram, we can get the determinant for cross product. We can calculate this for uh, 3 cross of 3 determinant. First step is multiply on the diagonal down right, add the other two down rights, wrapping as needed, subtract the diagonal down left, subtract the other two down lefts, wrapping as needed, and simplify. That is very much clumsy here. Let's see this. And for at first we take 1 and our we skip the row column, and uh, we cross 5 5 into 9 minus 8 into 6. uh, for 2 we avoid we avoid this row column, and we multiply between 4 and 9, and uh, subtract subtract into 7 into 6. For final one, we avoid this row column, and we multiply between 4 and 8, and we subtract the product of 7 and 5. And here they show you another way, that is we multiply 159, and we multiply 2 6, and we multiply 267, and we multiply uh, 3 8 3 8 3 4 and 8. There is another process. I think uh, the process, which one is comfortable for you, you can determine this. uh, uh, the process described here, uh, the process the algorithm is written here. With the help of this we can calculate the uh, cross product. Now for cross product, a cross of b is not equal b cross of a, cause for clockwise the direction is upward, for anti-clockwise the direction is downward. That's why you can say that a cross of b is not equal b cross of a. For direction purpose, c is perpendicular to both a and b. For right hand rule, place a and b tail to tail, and right hand, not left hand. And four fingers are pointed along the first vector. Swipe from first vector a into the second vector b, throw the small angle between them. Your outstretched thumbs points the direction of c. For first place practice, at first you do a cross of b, and then you do b cross of a. If you find that a cross of b is in upward direction, and if we go b cross of a, then we get the direction is in downward direction. That's why you can say that a cross of b is equal to minus b cross of a, and that is not equal. More about cross products. The quantity AB sin theta is the area of the parallelogram from by A and B. The direction of C is perpendicular to the plane from by A and B, and the cross product is not commutative. That is, A cross of B is equal to minus B cross of A, and the distributive law is A cross of B plus C is equal to A cross of B plus A cross of C. The derivative of cross product, this is the equation for derivative of cross product. And calculate cross product, we get the equation a cross of b is equal to aybz minus azby into y, and azbx minus axbz into j, and plus axby minus aybx into k. Now we are going to uh, show you a short description about calculus. For calculus, there are two parts. One of them is differentiation, and there was integration. At first, the first principle, uh, for first principle, we have to know what is differentiation, gradient. um, for gradient, that is the rate of change, and the topic is divergence, and another topic is curve. For gradient, uh, observe this figure, and del y by del x, uh, we can get this uh, rise by run, and that is not right. Uh, that is not compatible to our diagram. If we take a smaller portion, then that is much more adaptable to our graph. That is better. And if we take so much a smaller value from graph, that is even better again. And from this, we can say that a shorter run is better estimated of gradient. What is the best run? Actually, the best run is 0. However, there is a problem. We cannot divide by 0. Now, our next topic, first principle. We There's a mathematical concept, y is equal to fx plus h minus fx. Uh, that is h, and that is fx, and that is fx plus h, and that is fx plus h minus fx. Uh, if we divide fx plus h minus fx divided by h, that is our rise by run. That is our first principle, and if we uh, the limits tend to 0, then we get the first derivative. That is our gradient for this graph. For example, uh, find the derivative of fx equal to x square minus 3x plus 7 using first principle. Uh, Now put this uh, value fx plus h here, and that is for to in x, for the value x, we put fx plus h, that is uh, x plus h whole square minus 3 into x plus h plus 7, and for fx the value is here, and finally the line is here, and we can avoid all this, and and finally we got limit is 10 to 0 by is 10 to 0, and 2x plus is minus 3, and if we put the value h equal to 0, then we get 2x minus 3. Example 2, for first derivative cos x using first principle, put this value fx plus h minus fx divided by h. For fx plus h, we get cos x plus h minus cos x, and for cos c plus cos d, we get this value. We know cos c plus d is equal to cos c plus cos d minus sin c sin d, and by putting all this value, we can cross this cos x and minus cos x, and this final value, and by putting the value of h, and finally we get minus sin x. And that's why fx is equal to cos x, and f prime x, that is ddx of fx, is equal to minus sin x. Implicit differentiation, with the help of implicit differentiation, we can calculate different type of function, and get the value of ddx of y for different equation. For example, uh, x square plus 2y plus 4 is equal to 0. If we differentiate x square, then we get 2x, and for y we have the differentiation ddx of y, and if we differentiate a constant, that is 0, and finally that is equal to 0. By putting changing sides, we finally get ddx of y is equal to minus x. Implicit differentiation What if we have more than one y, that is y square? Then we can use the chain rule, that is y to the power n. If we differentiate it, then we can uh, write ny to the power n minus 1, and here y uh, have we want to use the chain rule, that is that's why we should differentiate y once more time, that is ddx of y. And for example, differentiate this. Okay, this is really tough for us without uh, rearranging that, but by using implicit differentiation we can solve this equation. And if we differentiate x squared, then we get 2x. For y square we get 2y ddx of y. For 2x, the uh, value after differentiating we get 2. For here we have 4, and by differentiating y we have ddx of y. And if we differentiate constant, then we get 0. And finally, by changing side we got the value of ddx of y, that is our final equation. There is an example of differentiation. Here we discussed differentiation, uh, and we have some example, because for gradient divergence curve we have to calculate, uh, we have to use differentiation, and this will be helpful for you. Here uh, our basic rule is ddx of x to the power n is equal to nx to the power n minus 1. This is our main equation, and uh, by using this we got this, we can solve all the differentiation. Okay, now we are going to discuss about vector calculus. Here we define two operations that can be performed on vector field, plays a basic role in the application of vector calculus to fluid flow, electricity, and magnetism. His operation resembles differentiation, however, one produces a vector field, whereas the other produces a scalar field. Here, we have three topics, that is gradient divergence curve. Now we are going to discuss about divergence and curve. Uh, Here, observe that curl of f is a vector field and divergence of f is a scalar. That is most important for you. We are going to discuss about curl and divergence, and the uh, difference between divergence and curl is the curl of f is a vector field and the divergence of f is a scalar field. Now the divergence is, again, the reason for the name divergence can be understood in the context of fluid flow. If f is a vector field, uh, it denotes the fluid velocity, and divergence of f represents the net rate of change of mass of fluid uh, flowing from the point xyz per unit volume. By using that, we uh, we can get three value. That is if the value of divergence is 0, uh, there's we can get a steady state flow. If the divergence is positive, then we get the value of divergence is positive, then we get divergence, and if the value of divergence is negative, then we can say it as convergence. And the definition of divergence is if pi plus f is equal to pi plus qj plus rk is a vector field in 3 dimension, and we if we um, calculate ddx of p, ddx of y, q, and ddx of ddz of r. Here that term is delta, that is resemble near about d, and if we have partial differential, and then we use the term del. For exact differential we use d. Now the divergence of f is del del x of p, del del y of q, and del del z of r. Here the divergence of a is equal to del dot a. That here this term is also called nabla. And finally we got del x of ax, del y of ay, del z of az is equal to here for nabla we have the value del x of I, del y of j, and del z of k. Here ijk is unit vector quantity and a is a vector quantity. By multiplying this with dot product, we get the value of del x of ax, del y of ay, and del z of az. The divergence in terms of the uh, gradient operator, that is gradient operator, and delta is equal to del x of I, del y of j, and del z of k. And symbolically, the product of del and f is divergence of f is equal to del of f, del dot f, that is mm, near similar to del dot f and del dot a. They're nearly similar, both are same. Now we are going to discuss about gradient vector field. Another differential operator occurs when we compute the divergence of a gradient vector field del f if f is a function of three variables. We have del f, there is a vector vector field, and now if if we want to uh, calculate the divergence of del f, that is delta dot delta f, and we finally we get this line. There is del x square f, del y square f, and del z square f. Uh, Here, the condition of incompressible divergence, that is, in another words, divergence measures the tendency of the fluid to diverge from one point, that is xyz. If divergence of f is 0, f is said to be incompressible. The condition is most important. By using this condition, solve this equation. Show that any vector quantity of the form f is vector quantity is incompressible. Now, if we calculate the divergence of f, if we get that that is 0, then we can say that compressible, and if it is equal to 0, then we can say it as incompressible. Cause here I have a hint for you. The first term can be differentiate with the term x, and here we have the function is coordinated with y and z. That's why the first term is 0. Nearly the second term will be 0, cause we have to differentiate this term with respect to y, but we have the equation, and the function is related to x and z, and there is a different quantity. That's why the term is 0, and we have to differentiate this term with the help of with respect to z, but the function is xy is related to the term x and y. That's why if we differentiate this term, that will also be 0. That's why we can say the divergence of f is equal to 0 and it is incompressible. Now we're going to discuss about curl. Particles near xyz in the field tend to rotate about the axis that points in the direction of curl fxyz. That is, the point is xyz, and the curl of f is the rotation along xyz point, and uh, uh, the rotation along this point, and the length of this curl vector is measure of how quickly the particle moves around the axis. The curl is the reason for the name curl is that the curl vector is associated with rotation. For rotation, we introduce the term curl. Now, uh, as a memory aid, let's rewrite equation 1 using operator rotation. That is del is equal to del x of I, and that we have seen previously. Now, Definition of curl. Suppose f is equal to px plus qj plus rk is a vector field in three dimension, and partial derivative of p, q, and r all exist. Then the curl of f is a vector field defined by curl of f is equal to del del y of r minus del del z of q um, into y plus del del z of p minus del del x of r into j, and del del x of q minus del del y of p into k. For curl of f, we have these. Now we are going to discuss about curl. The the easiest way to remember definition one is by means of the symbolic expression curl of f is equal to um, nabla or delta into f, that is curl of f. And now we are going to calculate the curl of f. uh, this line we have seen previously, and with the help of this we can calculate curl of f, that is ijk, and for nabla that is del del x, del del y, and del del z. And previously we saw that the function f is equal to pi plus qj plus rk. Now that is our coefficients are p, q, and r. For first, we take I as common, and we exclude row and column here, and uh, uh, we take the product of del del y of r minus del del z of q, uh, and now we take j as common, and we exclude this row and column, and we take the product of del del z of p and minus del del x of r. And finally we take k as common, and we exclude this row and column, and we um, calculate, and we take the product of del del x of q minus del del y of p. That is our curl of f that we have seen in our previous slide, and this is the way by we can calculate the curl of f. There is a calculation of curl. Uses of curl: if f is conservative, then curl f is equal to 0. This gives us a way of verifying that a vector field is not conservative, conservative or not. By with the help of this, we can say that a vector is conservative or not. If curl of f is equal to 0, then we can say that it is conservative. And another use of curl is it is rotational or irrotational. If curl of f is equal to 0 at a point, and then the fluid is free from rotation at p, f is called rotational at p. That is, there is no whirlpool or ed at p. Now, another use of curl is if f is equal to 0, a tiny paddle wheel moves with the fluid but doesn't rotate about its axis. If curl is not equal to curl of f is not equal to 0, the paddle wheel rotates about its axis. So finally, we can conclude that if curl is equal to 0, then it is conservative and doesn't rotate. And if curl of f is not equal to 0, then it rotates about its axis. The another use of curl is if f is a function of three variables that has continuous second order partial derivatives, then a divergence of f, and if we take the curl of this vector quantity, then we get 0. You can verify these for any of the scalar function f. And the use of curl is if f is equal to pi plus qj plus rk is a vector field on three dimension, then continuous second order partial derivative, then divergence of curl of f is equal to 0. There is another special use of curl. And now the problem for you, that is find a following for the given vector field. uh, uh, we have to calculate the curl and the divergence. We have the vector field f is equal to x square y z I plus xy square z j plus xy z square k. That is our vector field, and we have to calculate the curl and the divergence. I think if you understand our lecture, then you can solve this problem. And knowledge-based question for you related to our topic is, what is vector resolution? And this answer for you for vector resolution. Vector resolution is a process where one vector is broken down into two or more smaller vectors. And the question is, what is the gradient field? This answer for you. The gradient of a function is called a gradient field. A continuous gradient field always conservative. Vector field, its line integral along any path depends only on the endpoint of the path and can be evaluated by the gradient theorem, the fundamental theorem of calculus for line integral. And knowledge question for you, another, what is divergence for vector field? The divergence of a vector field simply measures how much the flow is expanding at a given point. It doesn't indicate in which direction the expansion is occurring. Hence, in contrast to the curl of a vector field, the divergence is a scalar. Now, another question for you is, what is curl of a vector? In vector calculus, the curl is a vector operator that describes the infinitesimal rotation of a vector field in three-dimensional Euclidean space. The direction of the curl is the axis of rotation as determined by the right-hand rule, and the magnitude of the curl is the magnitude of rotation. Now, we have comprehension based question. The question is, explain cross product of two vectors. The cross product across of is defined as vector C is perpendicular or orthogonal to both A and B with a direction given by the right hand rule and a magnitude equal to the area of the parallelogram, that is that the vector span uh, that we have discussed in our basics basic slide in uh, previous slide in cross product explanation. Another question for you is, why is cross product related to sine theta? This answer for you. The distance is covered along one axis or in the direction of force, and there is no need of perpendicular axis or sine theta. In cross product, the angle between the vector must be greater than 0 and less than 180 degree, is maximum at 90 degree, and that's why we use the cos theta for dot product and sin theta for cross product. A creative question for you, let two vectors given for you, and now uh, try this equation, try to solve these questions. What is vector product? Number B, the scalar product of two vectors maintain the law of distribution. Explain. Number C, find the projection of A on B and justify the mathematical condition of the two given vectors to be perpendicular and parallel. Home task for you, write the significance of gradient divergence and curl. Do you have any question? I think all of you have made some question, and I would like to suggest you to ask question. You can ask any types of question in our class time. And now I would like to suggest you follow these easy steps to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. And thank you all. Stay home.